this should, okay, so again, this is just going to be for my section and introduction. So welcome, everybody. As I said, this is the really exciting space for people who are interested in development, defense, diplomacy, women's roles in the sector. It's really a big umbrella camp for folks coming primarily out of Harvard as alums to or current students to connect on these issues. So our W3D network has these three pillars, our mission, which you can see on the screen. The first is around connecting and empowering global leaders working together towards sustainable peace. That sustainable peace that's kind of at the intersection of all of these sectors and is really critical to the success of all three. We also hope to build trust, collaboration across those sectors. We know how important they are to sort of mutually uplift one another. So creating innovative solutions that cross the threshold from defense, diplomacy, and development, and look at those kind of intersectoral, interdisciplinary solutions to global challenges. And finally, to really think about what we know is unfortunately underutilized, but very critical power of women in the sector, and really try to empower new diverse voices, influential leaders to advance this mission. So it's a really wonderful organization. It's been around for about 10 years. It's a 501(c)(3). We have a really wonderful leadership group. Here's a picture of some of our wonderful leaders here. We have the board, which they bring a lot of wealth of experience and interest and excitement to supporting the alumni network, but also their region heads. We'll tell you about that in a little bit, which gives us some kind of sense all around the world of ways to connect in at a bit more of a small group level, all the way down to chapter leads, which we'll tell you about as well, which bring it even more into the local level of how you can connect with your community. So we have a whole global organization. We have 4,000 members all around the world. It's really incredible to see the reach of W3D. But as I said, there's ways to connect with people from across the world. When time zones allow, we try to get as many of us together. But there's also ways to connect in with your region or with your city. So just a lot of different entry points to become involved. So this is a member survey just to get a flavor of who's in the room. This was not super recent, so hopefully we'll be able to conduct another survey and get to know you all and who's in the room today. But it's exciting and kind of interesting to see the wealth of experience, expertise, and knowledge of the folks who are part of this network and group. We have in the last survey, about 48%, a really big chunk of the members who work in development or kind of have their stated interest in that sector. We also have folks really interested in defense, doing some wonderful work in defense, as well as in diplomacy. And what's quite interesting across the kind of subfields, which of course connect across the 3Ds, a lot of people who are interested in international relations, but also gender issues. There's a lot of interest in that across the sectors, human rights, government relations, but we have all sorts of sub areas people work on: environment and energy, tech and development, health, so on and so forth. So have a look and see if your sector that you're most interested in is up on the screen, and hopefully we can help connect you to folks who are doing the type of work that you're most interested in as well. So let me whiz through a summary of the different, as I said, activities that we host, ways that you can get engaged. And really, no surprise, kind of the first one is events. So there's wonderful events that W3D puts on. There's a number of these which you can attend online. We know we have a global network. I think some events are also in person, but there's a real variety of types of events, types of speakers we bring in, and we're excited to kind of hear your ideas as well. You can see this really interesting, on the left-hand side here, event we had in January. This was a former Assistant Secretary for Intergovernmental Affairs at DHS and Harvard faculty chair, Juliette Kayyem, had a really wonderful event kind of speaking to her experiences. And that was a co-event with another group you might be aware of or you might be interested in, which is HAGD, the Harvard Alumni for Global Development Network, which is another great way that we're able to kind of cross-pollinate with other relevant Harvard groups. We had Larry Summers in a really fascinating, interesting event as well. So some well-known names who come through. There's a really great event that was through a women leadership workshop, really digging in on these questions of women's leadership in the sector. We've had a Nobel laureate, which is really exciting as well. We've had someone from UNDP, the director, come to share really interesting stories. Journalism, journalists for human rights, you can see, so a real diversity of activities. We've had someone talking about board experience, which was really interesting as well. So those are kind of the summary of events. Let me go back. And as I said, I think we'd be open to hearing your ideas too for the events that you'd like to see. So more to come. And you can find out about these events. We'll tell you a bit more, but you can see them advertised across our channels, be it through our emails or our Facebook group, social media. So please stay tuned. If there's something you'd love to come to, we really hope you'll attend. So those were our events, but this next one is a different way to be involved, which is really exciting. This is one of the newer initiatives from W3D, which is just a wonderful way for you all to share your expertise, your ideas, stories, experiences. It's called 3.0, and it's the W3D flagship publication. So this is kind of an online magazine forum to publish written work. Also, it's open to multimedia. If you're interested in publishing with W3D, we'd be happy to give you kind of the rundown with more specifics. If you go online to W3D's website, you can visit the 3.0 site, which has, as you can see here, there's a tab called submissions, and that has a lot of the details around how you can pitch your work to the group. It's really quite open. There's pitches. We're open to pitches that are works in progress or kind of fully fleshed out pieces as well. They can be kind of first person storytelling. They can be more op-ed style kind of analysis. There's really a fairly open mission for the types of topics that you would be interested in writing about. So we really hope that you'll submit your work or consider being involved. There might also be ways you could be involved if you don't want to write your own work, but you'd like to kind of review articles, support in the copy editing, etc. So please stay in touch if this is something you're interested in, and we'd love to connect you with the folks at 3.0 to see how you can be involved. Something else that's a great way to engage with the network is our RED resume employer database. This is something, again, we'll have some links for you available, and you can find it on the W3D website. But this is where you can put your resume, your CV, to be part of this database that we collect that we hope to help connect W3D members with employers and have kind of a data bank of all of the great members in our network, their skills and experiences. So this is part of our initiative. We hope to help support people in professional development and kind of career growth as part of the network. There are also a number of ways to be involved just on kind of the day-to-day with our various communication channels. I'm going to make sure when we have a break, I will go ahead and put links, a wealth of links into the chat box. These are links that hopefully came out in the emails you received as you joined W3D, but it's just the various ways that you can get involved. There's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, there's Slack. It really depends on how you like to communicate, and there's a W3D option for you. I'm kind of a crazy person who will use all of them. I'm at all platforms at all times, but if you prefer one over the other, that can be your route to engaging with W3D. So please feel free to join everything, join the one that you prefer the most. Again, I'll pop these in the chat so you can kind of make sure that you're signed up to everything you'd like to be. But please use them. They're spaces that we hope can engage in the ways that you like to engage. And hopefully there's a platform for everybody here. The next thing is chapter leads. There's this really wonderful way that W3D breaks down into that more localized way of engaging with our networks, be it in person or in kind of more virtual fora that really connect to your geographic area. So as you can see, this is our current spread of some of the wonderful leads and networks that are in the US. We have some of the major metropolitan areas here with some leads who help run up programming and activity in that area. Also internationally, all around the world, we have these wonderful folks from the W3D network who volunteer their time to help really connect folks in the areas they live in. But these are not all of the places of the world. And there's so many other cities or international countries or regions that might benefit from W3D activity. So that's where we'd love to hear from you. If you are living somewhere and you see there's an appetite or a need to bring together Harvard alum who really care about these issues, please reach out. You can send me an email. There's information here on harvardw3d.com/chapter-leads, where you can hear a little bit more about the work they do, and we'd really love to kind of expand this more. So this is a call for you all if this is something you'd be interested in doing. And hopefully that you've all joined in the formal sense. So I believe we've received your emails through the kind of formal way to sign up for membership, but it might be that someone's on this call who hasn't formally signed up. This is the one QR code to make sure you're on our official list as a new member. So if you haven't done that, please be sure to do that. I assume most of you had. And as I said, I will put some links into the chat so you can make sure you're up on all of our LinkedIn groups and our social media as well, and our Slack group. So I'll pause there and see if we have questions, and we'll move on after that to make sure you all can hopefully break up into a few groups and meet one another. I'll stop sharing my screen here. But are there any questions now while I pause to those intro slides or questions you have about the network?
I think we have 2 questions in the chat. Oh, Carolina raised the hand.
Thank you. Rachel, I asked in the chat if all the chapters are exclusively based on location, or we can also find chapters based on subject.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's a great question. As I'm aware, we don't have that kind of chapter structure around subject, issue area, and sector, but it is something we're kind of interested in exploring, and there might be ways to engage, not necessarily in that chapter way. Tianwang, let me make sure that you weigh in here, though, to make sure I haven't missed anything.
Yeah, I think this is a totally great idea, and Rachel and I have been talking about this. Rachel is gonna, as she said,